All right, today we're going to talk about a really powerful software design pattern. But forget the dry textbook definitions. We're going to do this through a story, an epic integration tale about bridging the old with the new and turning what feels like a developer's worst nightmare into a huge win.
So, let's set the scene. Our story's hero is a lead developer named Maya. She's running this awesome modern e-commerce platform called TechMart. Things are going great until, the CEO drops a bombshell of an acquisition, and with it comes a challenge that just seems impossible.
And yeah, that's exactly what Maya said. The company just bought this other company, RetroTech, and now she has to integrate its ancient 15-year-old inventory system. The deadline? Oh, just next month. And the problem? These two systems might as well be from different galaxies. Okay, so this slide really gets to the core of the problem. You see on the left, Maya's modern system is all neat and tidy. It uses these clean objects like payment request. But on the right, well, the legacy system is expecting a messy jumble of separate strings and numbers. They're trying to do the same thing, but they are speaking completely different languages. So right when Maya is about to pull her hair out, her mentor, a super experienced architect named Carlos, he steps in. He sees the chaos, and with this little smile, he introduces her to what he calls a magical solution. And this is the analogy Carlos gives her. It's brilliant. He completely reframes the situation. He's like, look, you're not rewriting anything. You're just building a translator. And that simple shift in perspective, that's what unlocks the whole problem for Maya. So, the adapter pattern is basically this software middleman. It wraps around that old, clunky system and puts a nice, modern face on it that the rest of the application can actually understand. It lets these two totally incompatible parts work together perfectly without you having to touch the original source code of either one. It's pretty amazing.
So how does this magic translator actually work? Well, it's a four-step dance that happens completely behind the scenes. First, it catches the modern request. Then, it translates it into the old format the legacy system understands. It makes the call, gets the response, and then it translates that response back into a modern format. All of this complexity is totally hidden.
And here's the best part, the real payoff. Maya's main application code, it didn't need a single line changed. Not one. It just keeps talking to the modern interface it always has, completely and blissfully unaware of all the messy translation work the adapter is doing in the background. It's just elegant. Now, Maya quickly realized this whole pattern wasn't just some one-off trick for her specific problem. It turns out to be this super versatile tool that you can find all over the software world, solving all sorts of integration puzzles. For starters, she learned there are two main flavors of these translators. There's a class adapter, which uses inheritance. It's simpler, but a bit rigid. And then there's the object adapter, which uses composition. It just has a reference to the old object, which means you can swap things out on the fly. Maya, smartly, chose this more flexible approach for most of her work.
And once you know what you're looking for, you start seeing adapters everywhere. Seriously, that database driver that lets your code talk to both SQL and NoSQL, that's an adapter. That little wrapper you write around a quirky third-party API to make it less weird? Yep, also an adapter. They're the secret sauce for making things that shouldn't work together, work together. Okay, let's fast forward 3 years. Maya is no longer that stressed-out developer. Now, she's an integration expert. She's on stage giving a keynote at a huge tech conference, about to share all the wisdom she's picked up on her journey.
So on stage, Maya shares her framework, and the core questions are actually pretty simple. 1, do you have two things with incompatible interfaces? And 2, is rewriting one of those systems completely off the table? If you answered yes to both, well, an adapter is probably going to be your new best friend.
Then she laid out her golden rules for building adapters that actually last. A big one is to keep it simple. One adapter for one translation job. Don't get fancy. And just like she learned early on, going for that flexible composition approach, it just makes your life so much easier down the road when things inevitably change. But, and this is just as important, she warned everyone about when to put the tool down. I mean, if you actually have control over both systems, maybe you should just, make them compatible. An adapter adds a layer, and sometimes the cleaner, better long-term solution is to just refactor the original code. So then we get to the Q&A part of her talk. And a developer asks a fantastic question. Basically, what's the hidden pain point? What's the catch? Her answer is so on point. Maintenance. See, an adapter is not a set-it-and-forget-it kind of thing.
When the legacy system changes or the modern system changes, guess what? The adapter in the middle has to change too. So the real art is in building these things to be super easy to modify and test from day one.
Next great question from the audience, what about performance, right? Doesn't all this translating back and forth slow things down?
And her advice here is just so practical. She says, don't guess, measure. Profile your application. Find out if the adapter is actually a bottleneck. If it is, then you can focus your energy on things like cache and common translations, so you don't have to do the work over and over again.
So the whole story kind of concludes with these really powerful takeaways. Maya learned to stop seeing old systems as problems to be thrown away and started seeing them as valuable assets that just needed to be unlocked. You know, good architecture isn't about building walls. It's about building bridges. It's about connecting valuable systems and preserving years and years of business logic.
And that really leaves us with one final thought to take away. I want you to think about the work you are doing right now. Is there some impossible integration you're facing? Some giant wall between two systems? Maybe, just maybe, all it really needs is a universal translator, a well-crafted adapter to turn that wall into a bridge.